Thank you for joining me live from the grooming table. I am Amy Lee, certified professional pet groomer since 2003, but it is absolutely my pleasure to share with you and you and you and you and you the secrets of the pet grooming industry so you can provide the same level of quality care to your beloved pets at home that I provide here to my client pets in my grooming salon. So I'm so glad that you're here. We have built a great community together, but another one of the goals right here on my YouTube channel is to bring a new voice to the pet grooming industry, and that is one that includes you, pet owners, as valuable consumers and not just pet groomers. With so many people seeking valuable knowledge in order to groom their dogs at home, having a place to learn proper dog grooming techniques and receive professional advice on tools, products, and where to get them is essential. And that is why I created this YouTube channel for you and your pets. Welcome to Go Groomer on YouTube. I am so happy to see you guys. It's great to be here in front of you. It's been a couple weeks. Remember, we're cutting our live streams back just a little bit to 2 live streams a month. I got a couple things that I'm going to announce after I'm done chitty-chatting with you guys about the topic tonight. A few changes that are coming for the channel and how we're going to go about moving forward, what we're going to be doing. I think they're good changes, but I definitely rely on your input and your feedback, guys, because without you, this isn't anything. So we're not sending our message if we're not together, because we're better together. Tonight's topic is mistakes that you make when grooming dogs. And that doesn't just go for professionals, guys. All the advice that I share on my channel is coming from a professional, but if you're going to be grooming your dogs at home, I want you to know how to do it like a professional. I want you to understand what tools professionals use and why, and how to use them safely. All this information is just to benefit you and your pets. Ultimately, guys, everything that I share here on this YouTube channel is really for the dogs. It's about the pets. How to groom them properly according to breed, according to their coat type, according to troubles that they may have with their skin. We cover everything here, and it's so important to have this YouTube community for pets. This is what it's all about. So the topic tonight is, we have done live streams in the past on this topic or similar topics, but typically I tend to share new information with you guys. So we have visited this topic before. We're going to expand on it tonight. So the topic is mistakes you make when grooming dogs. Again, that's whether you're a professional or that's whether you just groom your own dogs at home. You can make serious mistakes. But did you know that there are grooming methods that can damage the dog's skin and coat? And that is one thing we're going to focus on tonight, guys. I want to bring awareness to pet grooming, to people who are using tools, using products, using methods and techniques. I want to build that awareness for the pets, because they can't tell us, hey, you're not doing that right. You know, I got a double coat and you're really messing it up back here. They can't tell us that, right? So we advocate for them and we do our homework. And I want to tell you guys, I am always trying to up my game as a pet groomer. I've been doing it since 2003, but that doesn't mean that I don't improve every day and that I don't strive to improve every day as a pet groomer, because I do. I know there's always something better to learn. There is something new. There's just one little cookie that I didn't know that makes a big difference or changes the quality of my grooms for the pets that I groom. So, and if I wasn't a pet groomer, I would probably still be grooming my own pets, especially if I found a community like this, because all we need to know is how to do it safely, and where to get the products and tools and how to use them. That's what we share. So moving on to the topic again. You know, I get a little off track, but you guys get me all excited. You know, what can I say? I get so happy when I'm around you guys. We do wonderful things together. So we talked about, yes, there are methods of pet grooming that can damage the skin and coat of a dog. And we're going to talk about those things tonight, amongst other things. Excuse me. And when we say methods, I mean techniques. I mean the way you go about grooming the dog, or the way you're using the tools. So methods such as reverse brushing and clipping, even improper use of shampoos and conditioners, even drying your pet incorrectly can do damage to the hair follicle and skin. And we're going to talk about that. So is the haircut the most important part of pet grooming, guys? What do you think? So when you bring your pet to be groomed to a groomer, or if you're going to groom your pet at home and you get that beautiful baby or that beautiful beast up on the grooming table, is the haircut the most important thing here that you're focusing on? You need to ask yourself that. If you believe that the haircut is the most important part of the groom, then you're wildly mistaken, my friend. It is not the most important part. It is important, but it is not. And I am here to tell you, the dogs you groom depend on you to have their best interest at hand. And there are specific grooming methods that they need you to follow in order to provide the quality care for them that you intend to. They can't tell us, you know, hey, you're going to mess up my coat here, or you're really messing up my skin by using that technique. So we need to get out there and get the information, and that's why you're here, and I'm so happy about that. So are you avoiding crucial pet grooming practices because someone told you it would save you time and money? Is it possible that avoiding these practices actually wastes more time and money? So somebody's telling you to skip certain steps or do certain things that you really feel are important, and they're like, you're just skip over that. You're just wasting your time and money. You don't need to do that. You know, is it possible that avoiding those practices actually wastes more time and money? Do you want to know if you are making some of these common mistakes? Then stay put, my friends, because I'm going to share some pet grooming secrets with you tonight that will make you a better groomer, whether you're a home groomer or a professional groomer, or if you just aspire to be a groomer. So we're sharing things that are going to improve your game and up your skill level. That's important. So the first thought that I want you to keep in mind is to do no harm when grooming dogs. That is very important, and that is something that is highly stressed in the pet esthetician program that I'm taking, which I'm just learning so much valuable information and sharing it with you guys. But that is highly stressed in the Yves Saint Bernard pet esthetician program that I'm taking. Do no harm when grooming dogs. That is one of your biggest focuses, okay, guys? Animals have hair to protect their skin, unlike humans who have thicker skin as a protective layer. So the animal's hair is their protective layer. Their skin is not the same as ours. It's not as thick, and it doesn't have as many layers. They have hair for a reason. Even if it's short hair, they have it for a reason. It is important to understand the purpose of the dog's hair and learn how to care for a dog's hair properly and not compromise the health of the coat. Very important. Many people think, so I hear little footprints upstairs. Many people think that cutting the dog's hair short will make it easy for the dog to control their body temperature if they're hot. They live in warm climates or dry climates. Many people think it's important to cut that hair short. But the truth is, clipping the hair too short leaves the skin unprotected. And worse than that, clipping the hair too short can damage the hair follicles and often cause them to become permanently blocked or clogged. That's true, and it's something that is often overlooked. So there are ways to speed up the grooming process that won't result in compromising the dog's skin and coat. And these are some things that a lot of people encourage you to skip over. You know, even if you work for another groomer, they say, no, we don't do that. We're skipping that step. So we're going to kind of dive into that right now, okay? We're going to drill down a little bit. So things such as pre-brushing the dogs that you groom in order to remove the dead hair. And I always use a conditioning spray when I pre-brush. When I say pre-brush, guys, I mean before I get the dog in the bath, which is before I give them a haircut as well. First thing we want to do is pre-brush. We're trying to remove dead, unwanted hair. Using a brush out spray, any type of leave-in conditioner, like our favorite Quicker Slicker is a great one, the Nature's Specialty Quicker Slicker. GROOM has a lot of wonderful brush out sprays, a lot of different ones you can choose from. Tropiclean, I mean, there's so many. Petology now has fantastic brush out sprays. So I always use a brush out spray no matter what the coat type is. If it's a shedding breed or not a shedding breed, I use that to add a little bit of conditioner before the game even gets started into the coat. So say we've got a coat that's a little dry and frayed and maybe even a little tangled. So it's certainly going to help with that. It's going to help release that hair so we can brush out the dead hair, which is what's causing the tangles. There's dead hair in there that's wound around the good hair. But also using those brush out sprays when we're pre-brushing. And this is a step I don't want you guys to ever avoid. People tell you don't do it, take them straight to the bath. It can be done, okay, but you're just making it more difficult because you're still going to have to address that dead coat that's hanging in there, okay? It's going to have to be addressed. So you got to use the conditioning spray, which already starts the process of sealing the hair follicle, the shaft of the hair. It seals those plaques so that we're protecting the color of the skin, so we're or the color of the coat, and we're adding some elasticity into each hair so that we're not going to damage it through our brushing, bathing, and drying. It's important. So pre-brushing is very important. Use your conditioning spray, and by pre-brushing, this can speed up the grooming process because you will not be washing and drying extra coat that should have been removed. And let me note that all dogs, whether they are a shedding breed or not, will lose hair throughout the natural, this is a hair growth cycle that they have. Their own hair growth cycle, they are going to lose hair and they're going to rejuvenate new hair. This is the process of regrowing new hair. So every breed, no matter what coat type it is, they're going to lose hair. It's not that they shed, but they have a natural hair growth cycle, which produces the regrowth, the new hair. So we need to brush out the dead hair before we wash them. It's that simple. Another thing that is often told to people, don't condition the dog. You're wasting product, so you're spending more money. You don't need to condition it. They look great even if you don't condition them. Yes, they do. I'm going to tell you something about that here in a second. But the conditioning step is very important. Conditioning every dog after shampooing, regardless of the coat type, conditioning the coat will balance the skin and coat, which will actually speed up the drying process. So they're trying to avoid a step to save time and money, but they're causing more work for themselves because the skin and coat is not balanced. Don't skip the conditioning. I don't ever want to hear people telling people to skip the conditioning step. Don't do it. It's very important because it can help speed up the drying process because the coat is clean from the shampooing and it's rehydrated due to the conditioning. It's balanced and clean. Now we've got a clean coat that's balanced. It will dry just as fast, if not faster, than a coat that wasn't conditioned. So many people have taken bad advice and skipped the conditioning step of bathing dogs. They think by eliminating this step that it'll save time and save them product. Also save money on each groom by taking out the condition step, right? When you skip the condition step of the groom, you have just set the dog's skin and coat up to become dry, brittle, and worse than that, the skin will now go into recovery mode and start producing an abundance of natural oils because you've stripped them out through the shampoo process and did not replenish the oils because you chose to skip the condition step and save time and money. Does that make sense, guys? All right? I want you to think about that. Maybe go back and listen to that one more time. That was important. I'm going to say it again. I have to. Okay. When you skip the condition step of the groom, you've set the dog's skin and coat up to become dry, brittle, and even worse than that, the skin will now go into recovery mode and start producing an abundance of natural oils because you've stripped them out through the shampoo process, but you did not replenish it with the conditioning process and rehydrating. So you will not notice this before the dog leaves, any of this damage that you may have created by not conditioning and stripping out the oils through shampooing. You may not notice that before the dog leaves because you're not going to see that you did the grooming session, that's it, the dog goes home. But throughout the course of the next few days and weeks, the dog's skin will overproduce oils to compensate for what it is now lacking. So think about it, guys. We don't see the dogs again for another 4 to 8 weeks sometimes. So sometimes we don't know what skipping a step may have done in the long run for this guy, for this dog, this girl, whatever. But we don't know because we don't see the dog. However, if you groom your own dog, you can follow the results after the groom and see if your grooming methods are, on top of the game. If your dog's skin and coat is balanced and doesn't have it's not flaky, it's not dry, it's not oily, that means it's balanced. And you can monitor that if you groom your own dog because you can keep an eye on that. And that tells you you're doing the right thing. If you notice 2 weeks from now, your dog's skin and coat is still nicely balanced. All dogs really could benefit from a bath every 4 weeks, guys. It's important. That's their skin cycle. Their skin shedding cycle is every 4 weeks. So I want you to keep that in mind too. Even if you take your dog to a groomer, you may go every 6 weeks. Why don't you plan every 3 weeks to give your dog a bath in between with a good brush out, a good bath, and a condition? And you're going to see immense benefits in your dog's overall health just by balancing out the skin and coat. And why? Because the skin is the largest organ in your dog's body. You guys know this. I repeat myself. I know you hear me probably in your sleep sometimes. Is she going to repeat herself again? She's been saying this for 4 years. Yes, I am going to repeat myself again because it sticks. And sometimes I need to hear it too. It reminds me of the steps that I do every day and how not to falter from that. So this is great stuff that we're sharing here tonight, guys. Another thing, where I lost my place. Oh yeah, that was important. Okay. All right. So the takeaway for you guys on this subject of time-saving steps is to don't skip steps of the groom, whether it's the brushing, the pre-brushing, or conditioning after the shampoo. Each step of the groom is important and it should never be discounted. They're very important. They all make a perfect groom. Condition every dog you bathe and you will not only see better results, but you're setting the dog up for a healthier skin and coat, which is what pet grooming is all about, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to set them up for healthier skin and coat. Even though we're giving them a haircut too, they need that so that the client can maintain the coat. If the coat's not maintainable, now we have another problem. So that's what the haircut is for. It is for comfort for the dog, and it's for a maintenance program that the pet owner can handle in between grooms. So grooming methods that can damage the dog's skin and coat. Let's talk about that. Brushing in reverse direction. People have been coached in the past to brush their shedding dog breeds or their thick-coated dogs in the opposite direction that the coat lays. This is a myth. So what do I mean by that, guys? Okay, so if this is your dog's coat and it lays this way, then you want to brush this way. You don't want to brush against the lay of the coat. That's a myth constantly shared. even by professionals. It's just not good. It's not good for the hair follicles. That's the point. If we damage those hair follicles by combing and brushing in reverse like this, you know, aggressively especially, sometimes they could never be repaired. They can be damaged forever. And they can lose hair. You've seen that in a lot of dogs. Why isn't my dog's hair growing back properly? It's growing back patchy. You know, oftentimes that's due to the hair follicles being damaged because of bad grooming methods. Sometimes it's due to something medically. There's no doubt about that. But I do want you guys to know that tools can damage dogs' hair follicles, and they may never be the same. And I want you guys to know that, because I don't want you to do that. So brushing, when we brush our dogs, we always brush with the lay of the coat. So if your dog's coat lays down his back like this and drops down his sides, that's the direction you brush your dog. Now when we comb, your comb is just to kind of make sure that we can get a comb through the dog. You're really not detangling, dematting, doing any of that with your comb. Our comb is a tool to help us check our brushing, okay? So if we can get a comb from the skin through the length of the hair, then we know we've brushed good enough. Now we also use our comb a lot when we scissor. So after we've done our clipper work, you'll see us fluffing the dog with a comb. Don't mistake that for back combing. Back combing is when you're really combing or brushing against the lay of the coat. Fluffing is just lifting. It's okay to fluff when you're scissoring, or you know, when you're trying to put a pattern trim on a dog. You're lifting the coat with the comb so you can see what you have to do, what your work is ahead of you, okay? So don't mistake combing. Back combing is literally against the direction that the coat lays, and you don't want to do that. Clipping in reverse direction can permanently damage the hair follicle and cause skin problems as well. So there again, guys, when I say clipping in reverse or back clipping, so if we're clipping, we clip along this way, you know, the blade naturally comes down the lay of the coat. If you clip in reverse direction, where you're actually lifting the hair and cutting it, there is a little muscle in the follicle. It gets very technical, but if you damage that, the hair follicle then has the ability to, because you've clipped in reverse direction, you could be packing in loose clipped hair into those hair follicles, which is going to cause them to be blocked or clogged. You don't want to do that. So we want to clip with the lay of the coat. The shortest blade I would ever clip on the body and legs of a dog is a 7, and that is short, guys. I would never go to a 10, a 15. That's even shorter than a 7 blade. So if you ever question what's the shortest as I can do, and that's even on a matted dog, guys. I don't like to go to a 10 blade if I don't have to. I like to use the 7 blade because it still leaves just a little bit of hair, so that if we take it too short, guys, the hair almost it can become ingrown, okay? Because it's a short clip. So when the hair starts to grow, what if we kind of damage the follicle a little bit with our clipping? Now the hair wants to grow right back into the skin. That's called an ingrown hair. And it can become infected, and it also can just ruin the hair follicle completely. So we don't want to do that. We avoid anything reverse brushing, reverse clipping. Avoid that. And you're setting the dog up for success, trust me. I keep losing my place here. Okay. Clipping the hair too short, like I just said, it leaves the skin unprotected, first of all. And worse than that, clipping the hair too short can damage the hair follicles and often cause them to become permanently blocked because they get impacted. Like I was just saying, when the hair starts to grow, it grows the wrong way and it grows right back into the skin. There's a problem. Another thing that a lot of people don't think about, and I didn't really think about this too much until I started diving into my pet esthetician course, was force drying the coat in the reverse direction. So when we force dry, we want to force dry with the lay of the coat, the way the coat naturally drops off the dog's body. We force dry in that direction. When we come back, we lift the force dryer away from the body. So now we put some distance there. And then we come back down and we get close with the lay of the skin, and we lift and we come back, and then we get close to the skin and lift it away when we come back to the top of the dog. So that's something that a lot of people overlook, is that force drying can be very powerful. These force dryers are very powerful, and sometimes we need that power to get through a heavy coat or a very thick coat that maybe is a shedding breed. Sometimes we need that power, okay? That's fine, but don't force dry in the opposite direction that the coat naturally lays, against the lay of the coat, because you could damage the hair follicles just like you could when you're clipping in reverse direction. So that's something that is overlooked a lot. And I'm glad that we talked about it tonight. I don't think I've ever mentioned that on my channel, guys. And I hope that you all remember it. Not to force dry in reverse direction either. Some other things that could be a problem with your giving your dog a haircut or your grooming techniques and methods is the use of harsh tools to de-shed dogs or to make the coat lay flat. This can ruin the dog's coat forever, literally, if it's done wrong or if it's too aggressive. I always encourage everybody to use only proper bathing techniques and a comb and a brush to de-shed the dogs, unless it is a hand strip coat, in which case only a trained professional with the right credentials should perform the hand stripping. If you have a hand strip dog, the dog has to be hand stripped from day one. It has to be. You can't decide 2 years into it you would like to have your schnauzer hand stripped. You cannot do that. Once the coat is clipped, it is too soft. It changes the texture. It changes everything about the coat. It can't be hand stripped anymore. It's now an improper technique if you would do it. So if you are going to have your dog hand stripped, though, you need to do your homework, and you need to find a groomer that specializes in that. Am I that groomer? No. And if one of my clients came to me, I wouldn't even hand strip a dog. If somebody said, Amy, I want you to hand strip a dog, I know how to hand strip. I have taken classes and courses about it, but I haven't hand stripped 50 dogs. For me to say, I know I can do this with confidence and perform this safely on your pet. I just can't. I can't do it. I wouldn't do it. I would suggest them go to somebody else who definitely has a reputation of hand stripping and knowing how to do it properly. So don't think there's anything wrong if you're a professional and that's not your specialty. Just be honest and say, I'm sorry, that's not my specialty. You know? And if they want the coat hand stripped, you don't say, well, I can clip it for you today and then maybe you can go get it stripped. That's not how it works. If it's a hand strip job, it has to be a hand strip from day one with the dog. So, but like I said, there's no shame in saying that's not my specialty. If you're a professional groomer and saying that's not my thing, there's no shame in that. Let's say somebody wants their dog hand scissored, their poodle, and you say, well, that's really not my specialty. There's no shame in that. There is other groomers that it is their specialty. And that's fine. That's where they want to go because the client wants to be happy. You want them to be happy. So you send them somewhere where they're going to be happy. That's all. So, you know, just people shouldn't take everything so personal. We don't know everything. Every pet groomer isn't built the same, right? But we all do have a lot of dog hair on us all day. I can say that. So, okay, now I have something. Did I cover all that stuff? Yeah, I did. Oh, good. Okay. So those are a lot of the things I want you guys to avoid when it comes to grooming dogs. Always condition. There are so many different awesome types of conditioner. You can mix and match. If you like to use Tropiclean shampoo, you have a favorite Tropiclean shampoo, and you really like this iGroom Squalane Drop Coat Conditioner, you can use an iGroom conditioner with a Tropiclean shampoo. It's okay. It's fine. The important thing is that you're choosing a very good product that is pH balanced for dogs, because there is a difference between the pH level of products that humans need and what our dogs need. And that's another thing that I love about that new Petology line. It's pH balanced for the dog's skin, and it cleans well. I love the products, and they're affordable, and that's important. That's important to all of us. So definitely don't skip your conditioning step. I don't want you guys clipping in reverse, just so we can take that off the table and say, well, we know we didn't do any harm there. The big thing is we don't want to do harm to these dogs, even if it's unintentional. We don't want to do harm to them, right? So knowledge is power. That's what we do. Don't brush in reverse direction either. I want you guys to make sure you don't do that. Brush with the lay of the coat. All right, and I am going to get to some of your questions. If you guys have questions, remember, hold the dash button down so you put a line in front of it so I can clearly see that it's a question. But we are going to be trying something new in our live streams. Not tonight, but soon. So let's talk about that right now. So here's the announcement. Let's see what we think of this. First of all, I told you guys we're going to start live streaming twice a month. It may not always be the first and third Monday of the month. I'm pretty much going to try to keep it to every other so that we can count on it easily. If we're going to live stream every other Monday, it's easier to count on that. But I want you to know, because of other things that are going on in my life, with my private life, our next live stream, live from the grooming table, is scheduled for Monday, May 9th. So it's not going to be next Monday, not the next Monday, but the following. And then I probably would go 2 weeks after that and do the next one. But this is kind of a busy time for our family right now for many reasons. A lot of things are going on. And we're going to change a few things when we live stream on Mondays. Starting on May 9th, only channel members will be able to chat and ask questions. Now, I know everybody's like, wait a minute, I love coming to live from the grooming table. Okay, so I have thought about this quite a bit. The good news is I have added a new level choice to become a channel member called the toy group. We have the hound groups. We can see many of our hounds are here. I hear the hound dogs calling. I know my hounds are here. I hear them barking. So, but now we have a new level of channel members called the toy group. And if you want to be part of our live chat when we are doing public live streams like today, this is a public live stream. It's not for members only. It is a public live stream. All of my live from the grooming tables are their public live streams. So if you would like to be able to chat in that, you can become a member of the toy group for $1.99 a month. And remember that we have 2 live stream Mondays a month starting in May, and only channel members, whether you're a hound or a toy, can chat and ask your questions. That way I can actually get to a lot more questions because there will be a lot less in the chat. I am going to miss seeing everybody on screen because I really love that. But it doesn't mean you can't come to live to the grooming table. It means that you can't chat. That sounds so mean. I'm just trying to make this a better learning experience for everybody. If we can get through more good informational topics due to cutting out some of the abundance of the chat, so we can get down into it a little quicker and easier. I created this membership level to keep our live streams more educational, and I've thought a lot about this decision, so we're gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna see how you guys like it. I'm gonna see how it goes. You guys know I always go and rewatch my live streams at some point, whether it's later that night or the next day. And I always read your comments, and I always try to see if there's things that I overlooked, you know. And sometimes I'll just actually, if I know the person, I'll email them and say, I overlooked it. I didn't mean to overlook a question. And it really gets to me to not be able to answer this. Sometimes there's some pretty important questions in there that get overlooked, not intentionally. So by doing this, I thought, let's try this, okay? The Hound group, if you want to level up completely, you can consider joining the channel membership for the Hound group. That's at $4.99 a month. But in addition to being able to chat live, you also will enjoy other special perks such as members only live streams. Now we do that. Our members, we do that sometimes. I'll be grooming Gus, or I'll show you techniques, or I'll be doing unboxing videos with my members. And all of you people that aren't members, you don't know that because you don't get the invite for that. But that is one of the perks for the channel members, as well as we try to once a month do a Zoom session for members only. And that is only for the Hound group. And so that's at the $4.99 level. You would get the invitations to the Zoom sessions. And if we're all from different time zones, so if you can't make the Zoom sessions, I record them. So still, if you're a Hound member, you will get the link that, hey, you can go watch the replay there, because there's always some good information shared there because it's on a much smaller scale. So we drill down a little deeper, a little quicker when we get together in the private member live streams as well as the Zoom sessions. I love the Zoom sessions. I think they have been so beneficial, and I can see the value that it adds to our members, you know, just from our conversations that we have. So just to make it clear, the new toy level, now I don't know that you will see it yet. And Carrie, Carrie's super chatting. You're so getting saluted. You are so getting saluted. Thank you, Carrie. It is my pleasure. I hope that everybody finds this to be a good decision. And the reason for it is so that I can get some more nitty-gritty with you guys in the question section. And I feel that if somebody wants to pay $1.99 a month to be able to get their questions answered, I think that's actually worth it. I would do it. If I could have found a grooming channel like this when I was grooming in my earlier days, or just even now, if I didn't have a place to go, I would find it highly beneficial, definitely. But thank you for that, Carrie. I really appreciate your super chat. What did you say? Get it, girl. But yeah, so that is going to start on May 9th, which is our next scheduled live stream, which will be live from the grooming table at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. And by then, this should be implemented. And it gives you time to go ahead and become a member of the toy group, which is $1.99 a month. And that gives you the ability to chat on screen in the live chat. You can still be in the live stream. You just won't be able to chat. And Melissa just joined the Hounds. Thank you, Melissa. You're going to love being a Hound. I love them Hound dogs. But I think it's going to be good, guys. I really do. I'm so reluctant to make changes. I love what we have done with Live from the Grooming Table. And you know what? We've been doing it now for about 3 years. I still go back and watch some of our old live streams just to get an idea of the connections that we have and how we encourage each other through the conversations that we have in the chat to actually get on some good topics and cover some good dog grooming techniques, methods, and tips and tricks and secrets. So it is such a good thing. So that's what we're going to do. Starting May 9th, only members, whether you're a Hound or if you're in the toy group, you will be the only people that will be able to chat, which, you know, many of you are members already. So, and still the Hound group has a little more clout as far as the benefits. The Hound group is the only one that will get private members only live streams. So sometimes when I go live for members only the hounds will get that, not the toy group. The hounds will also be the only ones to get the private Zoom invitations and not the toy group. So the toy, basically in a nutshell, if you become a member of the toy group and my channel membership program, it's $1.99 a month, and it gives you the ability to ask me questions in the chat, in the live chat. Okay? So speaking of questions, you got some? Let's see here. Let's see. Let me scroll up. I'm looking for lines. I'm looking for lines. All right. I see so many of my friends are here. I love it. And Janelle's reminding people, don't forget to put a line in front of your question so Amy can see it. Thank you, Janelle. That really helps to remind everybody, because I want to get those questions answered. And let's see here. I'm moving up. Just want to see what's going on. Looking for questions here. Okay. I see something from Tasha. Tasha says, we're always better together. Well, we certainly have proved that, haven't we, Tasha? And I think if you ask the pets that we groom, they'd say, yeah, you guys are better together. Absolutely. Jane says, any news on what is going on with grand style grooming? I don't know. I saw Suzanne is going off of YouTube. I thought I just saw she was live twice today. Are you sure? I don't know. Suzanne changes her mind a lot. I know she's very busy. And now she's working with another young lady who she's helping her get her certifications, and I think she's going to be grooming with Suzanne. So I know she's busy. I don't know. I didn't know that she was thinking of that. Don't jump to conclusions, Jane. You can email her and ask her. I hope not. She shares some great stuff. I'm still working on videos that her and I worked on together and filmed together when I went to Tampa in Florida. Good stuff. It's a lot of footage to go to. That's why it's just taken me a while. Okay. And I'm just looking for your questions here. If you got a line of, see, this is where, if it's a members only chat, I would be able to breeze through these questions and just boom, bang them right out, because I could see them, and I have to search for them now, and that's what I'm hoping that we can avoid, and so we can get right down into a lot of good things. Pam says, is plucking ear hair necessary for dogs that are notorious for ear infections? Good question. Meaning, could ear hair plucking actually create an issue and make it worse? That I do agree with. Ear plucking, if done properly, it really is kind of necessary for a lot of breeds. Like, I've seen some of our, and usually it's our softer coated schnauzers, not the wire coated schnauzers, but the softer coated schnauzers, they get it packed in there. I mean, it's packed with hair, and you don't have to remove all the ear hair. Just try to open it up a little bit so they get some airflow in there. And there is a right and a wrong way to do it. And Grooming by Rudy just put up a good video last week. If you're not sure how to pluck your dog's ears, you can go watch that. I think I even posted it on my community page because I thought it would be great to share with you guys. Now, Pam asked the question of, is it necessary to pluck a dog's ear hair that is notorious for ear infections? Pam, if that was the case, I wouldn't. I would not do it, and I'll tell you why. What I would do is be sure to always keep that clean with a safe ear cleaner. That I would do, because ear infections are pussy, yucky stuff gets down in there. It can actually eat away at the skin and cause it to become raw, and worse than that, it can eat away at the skin. So by not keeping it clean, you're allowing it to really damage the skin inside the dog's ear. That tender skin. So now, if we're plucking on top of that already compromised skin, we are leaving an open pore, and there is already bacteria in the ear. Yeah, we could be doing more damage, because that can get into that now open pore, right? So that is a delicate area to dance around when it comes to ear plucking. If you've got a really compromised ear, or an ear that's puffy, red, swollen, make sure you just keep it clean and encourage the pet owner to continue cleaning it, probably twice a week, maybe. Don't want to overdo it, because then you're still overworking it, right? So in order to get it going in the right direction and get it healing again, we got to keep that nasty stuff out of there, okay? But yes, if that's the case, Pam, plucking could be dangerous. It could be asking for more trouble. And that is a great question. And when I see that on the dogs that I groom in here, if I see an already very compromised ear, I am not going to pluck it. In fact, I always make the owner aware that it was a very angry looking ear, and I cleaned it as best I could. And I need them to continue to follow up with it, or possibly go to the vet to see if there's another type of solution the vet would like them to use. Have the vet look at it. It's important. Chronic ear problems can be very, very, very bad for dogs, and it happens a lot. Irish Footballer says, how do you deal with bad customers? I don't really have any. Over the years, I've had some. And yes, I don't have them anymore because I get rid of them. If somebody doesn't appreciate the work that I do, or if they think, if they can't accept that maybe sometime I have a bad day, I may not be feeling well, and maybe Fluffy didn't look like she did the last 20 times I groomed her, and they want to like tear into me, about it, I'm just like, whoa, okay. Well, maybe I'm not your groomer, because I know what their options are. And I'm thinking, you are cutting off your own nose to spite your face. So, I know that I provide a wonderful quality experience for the pets that I groom. And sometimes maybe I give a dog a haircut that I'm not so happy with, or the customer's not so happy with. I don't know, like I said, the haircut's not the most important thing anyway. To them it is. And I think that's sad that they're not focused on the skin care and the coat care that we do as groomers, and that is one of the main reasons why they're here. But yeah, I just kind of, oh wow, and I'll tell them, maybe I'm not the groomer for you. I don't argue with anybody. If I've never had anybody say that they didn't want to pay a bill, I wouldn't allow that. I would never allow that. My work, my time is worth money. And if I worked on that dog, and there may be many reasons why the haircut doesn't look the way I wanted to, or the client wanted to. For one, oftentimes is because the coat was in bad shape. There was only so much I can do in that 2-hour time span. And that's what I tell them. Well, I'm sorry, if I had, this beautiful dog every 6 weeks, we wouldn't be in this situation. But you keep canceling their appointment and rescheduling for 5 months down the road. And then it ends up being, when they do that and they have that kind of behavior, I dismiss them from my schedule, and I put somebody in there that seriously wants to keep their dog on a schedule. I feel that's only fair to people that seriously want those time spots, because they say it's important to me to have a quality groom for my dog. And this person says, oh, I love the work she does, but I don't want to. I'm not taking my dog there more than twice a year. I'm not paying for that. Well, that's very unfortunate for your dog, because I just gave your time spot to somebody who does give a darn, and you're out. You have to weed them out. And it is sad for the dog, but the dog can't come in here without their owner's consent. The owner has to be the one on board with it, and so many people just don't value pet grooming. And they're learning a little bit more to value it, because there's just not a lot of options when it comes to pet grooming these days. Jane says, my Schnauzer puppy's adult coat is coming in and is coarse. Oh, that's awesome. Short of stripping, is there a technique with the clippers that I can use to preserve her coat? Blade size, comb size. It's a schnauzer. If you're doing a schnauzer cut, you could, if you don't go too short, Jane, like if you use your guard comb, maybe a little bit longer than even 1/4 of an inch, that might preserve that wire feel and texture of the coat a little better. If you're using a 7 or 5 blade, even a 5 might preserve it. A 7 blade is probably going to soften the coat and it's going to get soft, but try using the longer guard comb, Jane, and because it's not getting down so close to the skin, so see if that doesn't do it for you. Carrie says, I have a Maltese Shih Tzu and I brush her every night, but we're still seeing matting. How often should I be bathing her, and what leave-in detangler would you recommend? Well, all right, if you're brushing your Maltese Shih Tzu every night, but you're still seeing matting, then I'd say there must be either you're not holding the hair out of the way and brushing from the skin out, you're just running the brush across the dog. That's not going to actually brush her out properly. So you need to be holding the hair up and pulling it out with the brush, and then checking with your comb, and if your comb slides through it from the skin out, then you know you did okay. So a brush out spray that I am finding I really like, I just tried, it is actually an iGroom. Now this is a little more of an oilier brush out spray, but you have a Maltese, I think you might like it on the Maltese Shih Tzu coat. So it's the Squalene brush out spray. This is the conditioner. This is an iGroom product. I really like that. And I used it on Big Gus last week when I did his brush out, and he felt so soft afterwards. Not greasy, felt soft. And I really do love the Nature's Specialty Quicker Slicker as a brush out spray. That's another one of my favorites. On that coat type, it would do great. So hopefully that helps you. How often should you be bathing her? I'm not sure how long the coat is, but honestly, my recommendation to everybody is to bathe your dog every 3 to 4 weeks. 4 weeks is pushing it. Every 3 weeks is ideal, okay? And condition. Always follow up with conditioner, okay? So, let's see here. Any more questions we got rolling in here? You guys are pretty awesome, you know that? So, Raising My Pack says, can you be both a hound and a toy group? No, Raising My Pack, no. You'll have to pick one. If you're not sure, then if you want the perks of the hound group, which is the private Zoom sessions that we do together, my hounds, usually they're once in a month. I haven't done one in about 2 months, though. But traveling every weekend, it seems I'm going somewhere. Now we're opening up our camper. We've got prom. All the weekends are crazy. We had Easter this weekend. It just seems like there's so much going on right now. But I like to do private Zoom sessions with my hound group once a month. And that's a really good time. And the hounds will also always be able to chat as well. The only thing the toy members are going to be able to do is chat. My private members only live streams as well as Zoom sessions are going to be reserved for the hound group because it's a higher tier. So Jan says, do you have any hand exercises to help protect your hands? You mean to keep them from becoming painful or injured? I definitely, one of my suggestions is to always find a good pair of shears that is comfortable to you. A pair of shears that's well balanced, that is feeling nice and comfortable in your hand, and it just feels natural to you. Having the right shears will definitely make your hand feel better when you're scissoring. Another thing to do, obviously, is just stretch your muscles. And, you know, even clipping can tax our muscles, even all the way up to these muscles. So stretching is very important as self-care for pet groomers or home groomers, because you don't want to not be able to do this job because it took a toll on you, you know. So you have to stretch, lots of stretching, but finding tools that are comfortable to you. That's why I always tell you guys that I love the Wahl KM10 so much. One of the reasons is it is a very powerful, reliable clipper that never leaves me stranded. But secondly, it is well balanced in my hand. It feels great compared to a lot of the other clippers that I've used in the past, which were Andis clippers, most of them. They did not feel as balanced in my hand and caused me to have fatigue in my arms and my wrist. So having the tools that feel good to you is very important, very important. That's a good question. All right, Cindy Zen says, for poodles, what is the best way to puff up the hair without combing, force air dry, in reverse direction? You have to comb it. No, you can comb. Poodles, you are going to have to lift the coat. So when we go in and lift the coat, we're just pulling it up and out. We're just lifting it, and it's a hand scissored coat, so it's going to stay out because it's a hand scissored coat. We still don't mistake the reverse brushing as combing and lifting your dog for scissoring. That's not being aggressive with the hair follicle. But brushing against the coat like this is aggressive to the hair follicle. So you still are going to be combing up your hand scissored dog. So don't let me confuse you on that, Cindy. Okay? Cheryl says, we love this group. Love Darla and Navi. Tell us your favorite flea shampoo, Miss Amy. My favorite flea shampoo. We are happy to be better together. I am so happy to have you here. And yes, we are better together. Thank you very much, Cheryl. My favorite flea shampoo. I don't really like flea shampoos, but these days we don't have to worry about fleas so much because we have such great products like chewables and topicals, and I don't know, you know, I never chose to use a flea shampoo as my main defense against fleas. And I live in Pennsylvania, and fleas and ticks can be quite bad here, especially in the warmer months. So we have to be defensive about that. I use NexGard chewables for my dogs to prevent flea problems, and it seems to have worked really good for my two Gusses. My two Gusses. What a weirdo. Okay, and so what I would tell you, one of my favorite flea shampoos that I've found over the years was the Tropiclean flea shampoo. It seemed to be a little more gentle but effective on the flea shampoos, and it does have a, you know, residual time that it will prevent the fleas, you know, maybe a couple of days. They say a week, something like that. So I kind of liked that product. It was, I don't have any close to me to see. It's made by Tropiclean. It's probably their only flea shampoo that they have, and it had neem in it. So that would be my suggestion there. And Melissa says, Amy, I know you've mentioned before that you don't use very warm water when bathing. Yes. Is it ever acceptable to use only cold water? Trying to figure out the best way to do dog baths off grid. Okay. Well, cold water is a little dangerous, especially if we're talking about an older dog. older dogs have trouble regulating their body temperature as it is. I always notice when my old dogs are in the tub, they get cold right away, even when I'm using warm water. And I don't want a dog's body temperature to drop quickly. That's dangerous. They can go into shock. The same as if their body temperature goes up too quickly because it's of them being exposed to high heats. You got to be real careful with that. So I never ever want to use cold water on a dog or hot water. That's why I always like it right in the middle, just warm, because I know it's not going to be a detriment to dropping their body temperature too quickly or raising it. That can cause a dog to have a stroke and die if you drop their body temperature too quickly or you raise it too quickly. So I am just going to stick with my old faithful on that, Melissa. I'm going to say, no, Melissa, let's always use warm water. Unless it's really hot out and you're giving a dog a bath outside, maybe the colder tap water would probably feel pretty good. But I wouldn't make a habit of it. So I hope that helps. It's a good question, you know? You never know unless you talk about it. Pam says, how did you know how many teeth and what length chunker blender to use on a rustic breed? A rustic breed, meaning like a wire hair breed? I'm not sure, Pam. I would say, okay, when I am working on a dog with a more sparse coat, like even a Maltese, they have a sparser drop coat. Or let's say a wiry coat, like, a Brussels Griffon, as I'm scissoring and tidying up on them. I always use a blending shear that has a lot of teeth. I want something that blends nice and smooth and soft. Like my blender, the Sapphire blending shear, is fantastic on a wiry coat. It looks beautiful. It almost looks like nothing ever happened. It just looks so natural because it has a lot of teeth and it's a bigger shear. So on the chunker shears, I really only like to use the chunker shears on our heavier, thicker coated dogs. Even a Shih Tzu, definitely thicker coat, would use the chunker shear. Definitely on our Doodles, looks great, works great. On Poodles, works great. But those dogs with the sparser coats, like a wire coat, or our Yorkies that have a thinner drop coat, I like the blending shears that have more teeth, because they just make a softer look. So I hope that helps. That's a good question. And oftentimes when we're talking about shears, Pam, we play around with them. As groomers, we can play around with them more than somebody who's only grooming their dog or their two dogs at home. So as groomers, we play around with a lot of shears to figure out what works best on what coat types. But that's what I have found over the years with my experience, is when I want to go for a chunker shear, it's a heavier, thicker coat. Even the Bouvier, that's kind of between the wire coat and the thick coat, but I still like the chunker shear on the Bouvier. So hopefully that helps. That's a good question. It's a tough one to answer. And I am a shear junkie. I love my shears. Uncle Sam's niece, how you doing? Hey, Amy, generally, how many of each brushes, combs, etc. would you say is good to stock for starting a grooming business? Only one big dog at a time. Thank you. Well, Uncle Sam's niece, you know what? If you find a brush that you really like for most of your grooms, like your haircut grooms, or even a de-shed, say on a Bernese Mountain Dog, on Golden Retriever, something like that. If you like these flexible Artera brushes, then buy 2 or 3 of them. You can get the job done with them. Would you enjoy, the Le Pouche brush? Yeah, definitely. But you don't have to have it right away. What I would say, and I started with all basic brushes, just your regular Andis slicker brushes, Miller's Forge slicker brushes. I groomed all breeds. Find something that you like, have a couple of them on hand, And eventually when you get to a show, or if you get the urge to splurge a little bit and say, let me see if I really like that Chris Christensen brush, then go for it. You can't go wrong with it, but you are going to spend more money on it. So definitely have a couple of each brush that you like. Combs wise, one comb will do it. Have one as a backup in case, heaven forbid, you step all over it and break it. But I have combs that I've had for 15 years in this shop. They're pretty durable. So you don't have to have a ton of them. I only do now because I like to try products for you guys. And then that goes for a lot of the brushes I have. I have never been one to be a brush hoarder or a comb hoarder. I would have some combs that had whiter teeth, some combs that would have the teeth that are closer together, the fine teeth. And that was it. Now I've got probably about 40, 50 combs, to be honest with you. I could probably do a show on just combs and brushes. I should. And it's the same with brushes. I buy a lot of different brushes because I want to try them for you guys so that you do have more options. A less expensive option or a more high quality brush that's going to last longer. I want you to have those options. So that's the only reason why I have so many brushes and combs. Otherwise I wouldn't. I've never been one to hoard combs and brushes and constantly just buy, because then you're throwing your profits away, you know. And good luck to you just starting out anyway. I know, I see you around a lot. I remember you. That's A. Dunham. See, I know. Dorley says, I go to people's home to groom their dogs, but carrying the table is too heavy. Oh, I bet it is. Any suggestions? Any suggestions? Well, there's a couple things that you can do and that I think a lot of home groomers would consider, because you are providing such a convenient service by grooming the dog in their own home. You can request that as part of the deal that the pet owner buys a portable grooming table. If we're just grooming a Shih Tzu, you can spend, you can find a nice $50, $60 table. That's not a huge investment for somebody who's getting their dog groomed in their own house. That is so convenient, and I know they appreciate that. So I would say you can actually encourage you can make it be part of the deal and say, I need you to purchase this table. It doesn't have to be a hydraulic where we're getting into hundreds of dollars. If they want to, they can, and then you'll really like that. But otherwise, just say it's something that's portable but strong enough for the dog. So let's say you're doing a big golden doodle. You've got to make sure you've got a table that states it can hold up to 250 pounds or whatever, okay? You've got to make sure the table's big enough for the dog that you're grooming, or it could be unsafe. But other than that, I would really consider Dorelace. I don't think I'm saying your name right. And I apologize for that. But what I'm saying is maybe you should, because your services are so unique, maybe you should demand that your clients purchase a portable grooming table that is appropriate for their dog breed and the weight of their dog. I think that is the best way to solve that problem. If carrying, and I can imagine carrying and lugging those tables back and forth is too much for you, I don't blame you. You're going to hurt yourself, and guess what? Then they're out of a groomer, and I guarantee you finding a home groomer is not easy. So they're going to want to keep you. They can buy the grooming table. It's worth it for them, trust me. Lynn says, my little gal is pretty good, but she hates scissors near her face. Any suggestion? Love watching you groom. You make me smile. Thank you, Lynn. Oh, I love grooming. So anyway, I love that you guys are loving it too, that you are actually grooming your dogs and enjoying it. So Lynn, a lot of dogs that are older, I don't know the age of your dog, a lot of older dogs are nervous when it comes to scissors or clippers around their face because they don't see as well as they used to, and they're kind of having a problem judging it, and they're like, I think it's going to get me. You know, I think they get a little paranoid. I've noticed that as dogs age. When I groom them when they're younger, not a problem. When they get to be 10 years old, all of a sudden they're real flippy around their face. And I think that's why. Their sight and their hearing, it isn't all what it used to be. So they're a little paranoid about that. And hi, Bob Taggart. I haven't seen Bob in a while. I just wanted to say, I saw your name in there. I wanted to say hi. So that could be one reason why the dog is a little intolerant to it, Lynn. Also, if you want to try to help the dog through those situations, make sure there's not a lot of distractions when you're grooming your dog. Any dog that is nervous about certain aspects of grooming, you want to have no distractions. Nobody mowing the lawn right outside the window. Nobody walking through the room. Just try to make it a spa-like atmosphere, calm and serene. That helps. If you can keep the dog calmer, you can usually work through your situations a little better. And once the dog finally sees that it goes well without you getting upset, without her getting upset, she may each time give a little more and give a little more. So it could, you know, patience and persistence, Lynn. Dusky says, what about using shampoo and conditioner 2-in-1? Good question, Dusky. I don't like 2-in-1 conditioners. It is not the same. I had this discussion with one of the Seuss manufacturer, somebody who was working at the Seuss booth. I love Seuss shampoos and conditioners. And this was at Groom, and she was trying to sell me on the 2-in-1. Well, you can just use the 2-in-1. This is great. And I'm like, no, I would never do that. I need a good conditioner after I've shampooed. I want to rinse the shampoo and the dirt and the grime off and put a nice balancing conditioner on that dog's skin and coat. I don't think 2-in-1 products come close to doing what, you know, your two-step products can produce. I think they create the 2-in-1 products for people that feel they need shortcuts, and we don't need shortcuts. Remember that. No thanks. We don't want to take shortcuts. Compromises our work. I'm getting weird now. I think I'm tired and hungry. Okay, so Karen, I see you. Wait. Oh, wait, hold on, Karen. Cindy has another question. My dogs are on tick and flea medication, but I still found a few fleas on them. Do I need to do anything for them grooming wise? No, and you may find a couple fleas here and there, especially if you have cats that are indoor, outdoor cats. They're bringing them in. So that means it's going to take, you know, sometimes up to 48 hours till your dog's flea and tick medication is going to kill those fleas. Also, if you're finding that you're finding a couple fleas on them, just bathe them once every 1 to 2 weeks until you don't see it be a problem. You don't really need to use a flea shampoo on them if you have them treated for fleas. You know, they will die in the bath. If you lather them up, there's a couple of fleas on them, they will die. If they have a flea infestation, that's different. But we're not talking about a flea infestation. I can say that word, infestation. Okay, Karen says, blending shears, how to use evenly. I use my blending shears like a straight shear. Sometimes there are many techniques of how to use blending shears, Karen. And I use a pull and drag method depending if I'm thinning out cheeks, if I'm just thinning wispy areas under a dog. I use a pull, I get a hold of it and I drag it through the coat like this. And it just thins as it comes out. And it's really a nice method. But I don't always want to do that if I'm doing scissor work with my blending shear. If I'm doing scissor work with my blending shear, then I am treating it as a straight shear. My technique is the same technique as a straight shear, okay? So I hope that helps. It probably just confused you even more. Some things are hard for me to explain. Karen also says, probably keeping staining under eyes, clean trim hair. Keeping staining under eyes clean, trim the hair. Yeah, I do trim that hair, especially on Maltese that have a lot of staining. And I clipped with a 10 blade just a tiny bit right there in the corner just to get rid of most of it. A lot of the dogs that stain there so much is because that hair, their coat type is maybe a more porous coat type, so it absorbs the staining more. It could be something with the red blood cells in the liver, and there's so many things. It just could be a hereditary thing for them, okay? So I usually do tidy it up with blending shears and clip it out, and then it stays nice until I see them again. Sonia has a good question. What is a recirculating bath water? That is a good question. Recirculating bathing machines are not like the Prima bathing system that I use. Recirculating system means it keeps using the same water that's falling off the dog as you're washing it. So it recirculates the shampoo and water through that bathing process for that dog. So you're at some point using dirty water on the dog, unless the dog wasn't very dirty. I don't like recirculating bath systems. I understand how they save money, but I just don't feel like maybe they do as good a job as I would like to see. I really do like my Prima bathing system. It's not a recirculating system, and it really is kind of like a giant frothing machine. Thank you, Jennifer. It says, first time on live chat. Absolutely love your channel. Well, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, Monica, how to use thinning shears. Sounds like a class we could use. Sounds like a video that I need to make. We'll get her done. We will. Hang with me. All right, guys. I am going to let you go. I really appreciate you showing up here tonight and hanging out and learning more awesome things about pet grooming. It's not a boring subject at all, is it? Oh, I could talk about it forever. But I also love hanging out with you guys, especially since we share a passion and a love for the same things, which is pets and pet grooming and caring for them. So I want to thank you all for being here. I will see you back here live from the grooming table Monday, May 9th, okay? Monday, May 9th at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, and we will see everybody that has a badge behind their name in the chat asking questions, okay? I want to see that. Sharon says, help, Arlo's having a problem with grooming. I also broke my index finger in March. Whoa, oh no, what do you want me to do, Sharon? You said he's having a problem with grooming. I'm sorry that you broke your finger, Sharon. That would definitely be a problem with grooming, wouldn't it? I don't know what you want me to do. Send me an email if there's something you need me to know. I hope you get better, and tell Arlo I love him. All right, guys, subscriber showdown for you. Thank you so much. Just keep doing what you're doing. You are awesome. And I really appreciate everything you do for your pets and showing up here to learn just a little bit more whenever you can. I appreciate that, and so does your pet. So this is for you, subscriber showdown, because you're all awesome. I love you guys. See you Monday the 9th.